warning until 12:30. So we have a strong storm. It's still severe warning as it pushes into San Antonio, but it is not the strongest part of this storm is in Comal County at the current moment. As I take a look back to the west, these are strong storms around Uvalde, the Sabinal, the Hondo. These are not severe warned, but we have a lot of lightning still with these particular storms and some heavy rain pushing right along Highway 90 from west to east. And even back here to Valverde County, we have some more heavy rain. These are not severe warned storms, but they do have a lot of lightning and frequent lightning as well with this activity that's kind of back building out to the west. But let's take you back to the most dangerous situation that we have at the current moment. That continues to be Comal County, north of Canyon Lake. Okay, this is great news on the last scan. You notice that dark blue, it backed off a little bit. It's not as tight of rotation as it was about 5-10 minutes ago when it was just south of Fisher. You notice that little tightening with the dark blue, the red coming in. The latest scan, that is more broad rotation. So we're still seeing some strong winds, but it is not as concerning as it was just about 5 minutes ago as it continues to push to the east. Again, you want to treat this like it is a tornado that is on the ground, even though we have not had any confirmation. We had that radar scan a few minutes ago that was more concerning. If you're in that red polygon, remember, until 12:30, interior room, away from windows. You just want to make sure you are safe because this is a storm that is capable of producing a tornado. Again, that is the latest scan, which is a lot less concerning as it was 5 minutes ago. But let me take a look at the wind speeds on that. I would guess that it backed off a little bit, but it's still very strong winds. Whenever you see that blue starting to show up, that's winds over 70 miles an hour. So it's backed off a little bit, 73 mile an hour velocity on those winds north of Canyon Lake. It was up to close to 100 miles an hour as it was pushing across Highway 281. It's now down to 70. That's still damaging winds pushing through Canyon Lake at the moment. The greatest winds to the north of Canyon Lake between Canyon Lake and Fisher. But it has backed off a little bit. That is some good news. We're hoping that trend will continue as the storm continues to push to the east and eventually into Hays County. Let me take a look at the winds moving into Bexar County, San Antonio. It's a lot less, up to about 30 miles an hour. So it's weakening a little bit in Bexar County. We still got some wind gusts, 30 to maybe 40 miles an hour pushing in. But the main concern continues to be that tornado warning up in Comal County. We're still producing winds of 70 plus miles per hour. We're watching to see if that velocity signature could tighten up again. That that tornado warning, continues until 12:30. And no matter where you are, if you're in the San Antonio metro, you are going to get this storm that will continue to move on through. It's moving through northwestern Bexar County right now. It's about to reach the airport with heavy rain. Downtown within the next 20 minutes or so, you will be seeing that heavy rain as well. But again, this is it is severe warning until 12:15. But we're only seeing winds of up to about 30 to 40 miles an hour in Bexar County. That is under severe limits as this continues to work in. Let me take a look at the hail tracker and make sure we don't have any hail showing up with any of these storms. No hail being seen. Or there could be a little hail up towards Canyon Lake. Again, the strongest part of the storm producing up to about pea-sized hail. It looks like the National Weather Service trimmed down the tornado warning a little bit, but it still continues until 12:30 a.m. Let me take you back to that velocity signature, and we'll go through exactly where that tornado warning continues in that particular area in Comal County, about to move into Hays County. So that's the warning was trimmed a little bit. It was back to 281 to Spring Branch. That is no longer included. Spring Branch, you are no longer included in that tornado warning. It's now from Canyon Lake to San Marcos, this red polygon. That is still where we have that tornado warning. Wimberley included in as well. If there was a tornado, it would be right in here Not as tight on the rotation as it was about 10 minutes ago, but you want to treat this like this is a tornado on the ground. And if there was, it would be right here as this continues to push to the east at about 60 to 65 miles an hour. So it is still racing across the Comal to Hayes County line right now. Regardless, this is a damaging wind storm as it continues to push to the east over the next 30 minutes, eventually going to reach the I-35 corridor here in Hayes County. So that is the most dangerous storm that we're currently watching right now, is that storm in northern Comal County about to move into Hayes County. That's where a tornado warning continues until 12:30 a.m. 12:30 a.m. and tornado warning continues until 12:30 a.m. for northern Comal County and portions of Hayes County as well. So we just got the latest scan there, and it looks more promising, which is good. We're not seeing that tight of rotation as we were, again, about 15 minutes ago. So that is good news. We want to keep this trend going as this storm continues to push into Hayes County from Comal County. Back to the radar, here's what we're seeing right now as those storms continue to work their way on in. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for another 10 minutes, including San Antonio up to New Braunfels as well, with this line of storms that continues to move to the east. So Helotes included in that as well. We're seeing rain now around the airport in San Antonio, the north side of town. Going to be seeing rain until rain in downtown San Antonio as well within the next 15 minutes or so. Tornado warning, again, I just saw it. This does not include Kendall County. It's for Comal and Hayes County until 12:30 a.m. So northern Comal, southern Hayes County until 12:30 a.m. That's where the tornado warning is. There is a severe thunderstorm warning that stretches back into San Antonio. That's until 12:15. Again, the greatest, most dangerous part of the storm is north of San Antonio into Comal County. We have winds moving into New Braunfels right now, Canyon Lake. That's where we've seen the strongest storm over the past 30 minutes or so. So it's in this general area from Bernie to Canyon Lake. That's where we saw the strongest winds over the past little bit. Again, Kendall County not included in that tornado warning. It's Comal and Hayes County until 12:30 a.m. That includes Canyon Lake. It includes the southwestern side of San Marcos as well. But let's take a look back at that velocity signature here. As the storm continues to move towards San Marcos, watching this area in particular right here. Not seeing tight rotation, so that's some good news there. But continue to treat this again as a tornado on the ground. That's what you want to do in circumstances like this. If you're under that tornado warning, you want to treat it like that until that warning is lifted or allowed to expire by the National Weather Service, and they're still keeping it going until 12:30. Includes parts of Canyon Lake to San Marcos up towards Wimberley. That is the most dangerous storm right now that we are continuing to track as it pushes to the east at about 60 miles an hour. So again, everybody here in the San Antonio metro are going to get some rain, some frequent lightning as well, and some wind gusts up to 30, 40 miles an hour in Bexar County, up to 60 to 70 miles an hour as you work into Comal County. And again, this is about to push into Guadalupe County as well. Can't forget Seguin. You're probably about 20 to 30 minutes away from that storm pushing into you as well. Let's take a look back real quick at some of these wind gusts. Let me go back to the velocity and back into our tornado warning that we're continuing to follow very closely here in northern Comal County. The wind has subsided, but it's still very strong. You see velocity there of up to 58 miles an hour. That's right on the Comal-Hayes County line as it continues to move to the east. It was up to almost 100 miles an hour back along 281. So that is some good news there. So those are our most dangerous storms right now. Again, that tornado warning until 12:30 for northern Comal into Hayes County. Back along US 90, Hondo to Uvalde, that's some heavy rain, but these are not severe storms back to the west. And even out in Del Rio, this looks like a flood advisory that was just issued for Del Rio itself. We do have some heavy rain pushing into Del Rio at the current moment. Again, this is not severe warned, but we do have frequent lightning, heavy rain with this activity here in Valverde County. We're continuing to watch this main storm right here, the tornado warning that continues for portions of Comal and Hays County until 12:30 a.m. The good news is we have not had anything confirmed, and we continue to watch the velocity, and we're not seeing anything at the moment that would indicate a tornado is on the ground. Again, I keep stressing this. You want to act like there is one on the ground. If you're in that red polygon, you want to make sure to take that storm very seriously, interior room, away from windows. But at the current moment, the winds have backed off from where they were about 20 minutes ago, and we're not seeing a tight velocity signature as we did back when it was closer to Spring Branch and the Fisher area as it continued to push to the east. So that is good news. We still do have that severe or that tornado warning until 12:30. That does include Wimberley, includes San Marcos. Canyon Lake, the tornado threat for you has passed. Now, we do have that tornado warning on the east side of Canyon Lake, and I want to stay in your safe spot until 12:30 a.m. or until that warning is lifted. But the main threat with the storm is now moving into Hays County as it continues to push to the east. Let's take a look overall at the storm. You're seeing very heavy rain right now, right over Canyon Lake. New Braunfels seeing that activity back along the I-35 corridor. San Antonio, the north side of San Antonio, now seeing very heavy rain. Not as much lightning. There's some lightning here in Bexar County, but not as much. That is a sign of a weaker storm compared to what's up to the north around Canyon Lake, where we do have more lightning. But even around Canyon Lake, you notice how much lightning there was when it was in Kendall County moving across 281. It has backed off. That's a sign of a weakening storm. However, we do have that tornado warning still until 12:30, so you want to make sure to take it very seriously as we continue to watch this line. Let me zoom into that area once again. As I look at this velocity signature here, we had that main circulation in here, and it moved here and weakened a little bit. There might be a little bit more rotation back here. This is further north. This is into Hays County, so we're moving outside of our viewing area. But if you know anyone in Wimberley, to Kyle, to Buda, down towards San Marcos, make sure you give them a call. Make sure they know that there's a tornado warning in Hays County. And this storm is still a very dangerous storm as it continues until 12:30 a.m. So right now, nothing tight in terms of rotation. It looks like we just got another update there, and it backed off a little bit. But the strongest winds right now are here in Hays County, north of Wimberley. Again, this is starting to move outside of our viewing area into the Austin area. But that is where the most dangerous part of that storm is at the current moment. It is near Wimberley, moving to the east towards San Marcos, to Kyle, to Buda. So again, the severe thunderstorm warning until 12:15, unless we get another update here. It is expected to expire in 2 minutes. That includes that all the way into northern Medina County, Bexar County, Comal County, into Guadalupe County. But right now, that's severe thunderstorm warning, which is the yellow shaded box. Right now, includes the San Antonio Metro. Is expected to expire here within the next 2 minutes. So we may lose the severe thunderstorm warning, especially for San Antonio, because right now it looks like most of the activity is under severe limits in Bexar County. I do expect still to see a severe thunderstorm warning, or still possibly that tornado warning, still in effect until 12:30 for areas such as Comal, possibly northern Guadalupe County, up towards Hays County, up towards the Austin area. That's where the strongest part of this storm is right now. You see it's kind of bow echoing here. That is indicative of the strongest winds that we see. So the strongest winds that we've seen move through Bernie towards Bergheim into Valverde, Canyon Lake, now pushing into New Braunfels up towards San Marcos. That's where the strongest part of this storm continues to be. So we'll see if this severe thunderstorm warning is allowed to expire within the next minute or so. Continue to watch those updates for you. But that tornado warning for Comal and Hayes County continues until 12:30. As I zoom out, just making sure that is the only warnings that we're watching right now, and that is the activity back to Uvalde and Del Rio. That is not severe warned. It looks like we just got an update, and it looks like my maps are correct. I'm going to double check this. It looks like the severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning, they both dropped from the map. Waiting confirmation on a cancellation on that. So we did have that tornado warning until 12:30 for Comal and Hayes County. It just dropped from the map. I have not seen a confirmation from the National Weather Service if they canceled that warning. Regardless, we still do have a very strong storm moving into San Marcos, moving into Kyle right now. This is the most dangerous part of this storm. So it's now outside of Comal County into Hayes County right now. But we're continuing to watch areas such as this and such as this in here to see if we could see any tightening of rotation right now. But the winds have backed off with this storm. We don't have a confirmed velocity signature that is very concerning at the moment. So that is definitely good news. We're watching that right now. Both warnings dropped from my map. So we're hoping those were allowed to expire. I'm waiting for confirmation from the National Weather Service. But right now, according to our maps, we don't have any active warnings at the current moment. So again, either way, we have a very strong storm pushing into the I-35 corridor right now. So you're likely starting to see heavy rain from New Braunfels down towards San Antonio right now as these storms, this line of storms continues to move to the east and southeast. So these storms will continue to push east-south. Let me get a track on these storms if they're moving at the same speed as they were, showing where this storm is going next. So this is the line of storms. Again, does not mean that you're going to see a severe storm, but it's a heavy thunderstorm regardless. The line of heavy thunderstorms right now as they move to the east at 65 miles an hour, reaching San Antonio right about now, moving through, but downtown eventually to the east side by 12:30 or so. Seguin 12:32, Luling 12:42, Elmendorf at 12:56, and reaching Gonzales in our eastern zone by 1:10 in the morning. So you see all this activity continue to push to the east. That's the line of storms. Winds, 40 to up to 60 miles an hour, frequent lightning and very heavy rainfall along this line. Not seeing much hail with this storm. So that's some good news there as it continues to move to the east. Can't rule out some small hail, but not seeing any big hail signature at the current moment showing up right now. Now, there is a report of some power outages now starting to show up in Bexar County. I'm not sure if we have more information about that. A wind gust of 48 miles an hour in San Antonio was reported near the airport. So we do have those strong winds. Right now, there is no active warning in our area. It looks like that tornado warning was allowed to expire a little early, which is great news there. We're continuing to keep our eyes on that strong storm. But right now, there is no active warnings in our viewing area. So that is some good news as that continues to move through. Looking at Bexar County, San Antonio, about to move into downtown. Let me see if we have our live camera right now, downtown San Antonio up here. I could pull that up and see if we're starting to see some activity. There it is right now. Starting to see those wet roads. The storm definitely moving into San Antonio right now. Wind gusts, again, up to about 50 miles an hour. That's the wind that we're seeing push through San Antonio. No severe thunderstorm warning at the moment for Bexar County. That's 60 plus miles an hour. So it's just under severe limits at the current moment as we continue to watch this storm continue to move on through. But right now, we do not have a severe thunderstorm warning at the moment. No active warnings ongoing right now in our local area. As we continue to watch that storm, let me take you back over to the velocity signature here. Make sure, talk about the winds that we're seeing in Comal County and up towards Canyon Lake, because we saw winds up to about 100 miles an hour earlier move through northern Comal County. This has really backed off. So that's why that has allowed to expire. The tornado warning was allowed to expire, as well as the severe thunderstorm warning, because the winds are just not as strong as they were. So that's some great news there. Again, no active warning at the moment. The heaviest rain, heaviest storm from San Marcos to New Braunfels down towards Schertz, moving right through San Antonio right now. This is the heaviest rain as it pushes on in. We're getting a heavy downpour right now here at our station off 410 on the northwest side, and some lightning intermingled here. Not as strong as it was earlier, so that's some good news. Not as much lightning as we saw about 30 minutes ago. So it does show some signs of weakening as it moves to the east. But you see right here, New Braunfels, the Schertz, the San Antonio. It's eventually going to push towards Seguin, the St. Hedwig, down towards Almendorf within the next 30 minutes or so. As we take a live look at our TransGuide cameras throughout the San Antonio metro, you see the wet roads starting to show up in and around Bexar County. So that's the concern right now. If you're going out, make sure to take it easy on the roads right now. It's late at night now, the early morning hours, as we see those just a heavy rain push into San Antonio right now. So that's the main concern. It's going to be that ponding on the roadways as this continues to slowly move to the east and southeast as well. So that's the main concern at the moment. Again, no active warning. We did have that tornado warning for northern Comal County earlier this evening. Winds of over 80 miles an hour up towards Canyon Lake and Spring Branch. That has now diminished. So that is some good news there. This is now a line of heavy thunderstorms. No active severe warning again in our local area at the current moment. So that's what we're watching very carefully as I take a look again at when we may see those storms. Okay, as we take a live look right now, 65 mile an hour. This is the timing of these storms. So Kyle, 1222, Seguin, 1237, Pearsall, 1256, Poteet around 1 a.m. That is when those storms, that leading edge of thunderstorms, would arrive in your town. Again, no active warnings at the current moment, but we have heavy thunderstorms right now pushing through San Antonio. You see that from our live cameras across the San Antonio metro. Very heavy rain ongoing at the current moment. So overall, let's take a live look at the overall picture across our four zones. We get a little bit of a lull here in terms of severe activity. Is again, we're not tracking any active severe thunderstorm warning, no tornado warnings right now across our four zones. That was allowed to expire. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch, though. That remains in effect until 3 a.m. So you're seeing that activity from Austin to San Antonio, right along the I-35 corridor. That's that strong storms continue to push on in, but they're under severe limits. So it's heavy rain, frequent lightning. Can't rule out a little small hail as well, but not seeing any big hail with these storms. Back in the Hondo, Uvalde, that's some heavy rain as well. This is all going to be pushing east through the next few hours. So our eastern zone's been pretty quiet through the day today. We had a few showers earlier this afternoon, but right now, fairly quiet. All this activity is heading in your direction. Back out to the west, seeing additional showers and thunderstorms out towards Del Rio. There is a flood advisory in Valverde County. So remember, turn around, don't drown. We have that flood watch until 1 a.m. So that continues to be a concern there. So any rain that we continue to see, high rainfall amounts, we could see some localized flooding. So that is, again, a main concern that we're watching. Zoom into Bexar County. Here's what the radar currently looks like right now. Helotes, Hollywood Park, Stone Oak, Leon Valley, Castle Hills, the airport, even downtown San Antonio. We have that live camera downtown. See if we could see that shot, because that's some great shot right there from 37 at the Alamo Dome. You see that heavy rain throughout San Antonio. There's the lightning, 281 at Borg Field. That's 281 Wilderness Oaks. It's just heavy rain right now in San Antonio. We haven't seen a good rain since September 7th, so it's great to see the rain. We don't want those damaging winds. We don't want the hail. We definitely don't want a tornado to move on through. But right now, again, no active warnings in our area as this storm moves in. But we're seeing some good rain. So that's great to see right now. Let's take a live look from our Raul B. Rodriguez law camera downtown San Antonio. There's the storms moving through Bexar County. Schertz, Garden Ridge, seeing that activity. You're about to see some activity from China Grove down towards Von Army, Somerset, Elmendorf, St. Hedwig, south and eastern Bexar County. Haven't seen anything yet, but that will change as this storm continues to drift to the southeast. Back towards New Braunfels, you see that heavy rain from Garden Ridge up towards New Braunfels. We still do have that lightning. The strongest portion of that storm continues to be in Comal County, where we did have that tornado warning earlier. Again, nothing current, no current warnings right now to speak of, but heavy rain right now right along 35. New Braunfels, Seguin, that's going to be moving into you within the next 15 to 20 minutes. Back to the west, Hondo, Sabinal, seeing that heavy rain to Uvalde, La Pryor, Batesville, going to see a little bit of activity. And we have our chief meteorologist, Chris Suchan, is here as well.
Okay, Joe, thank you very much. Great coverage here of these storms coming in. I'm now going to continue our coverage here with you, tag team weather here in regards to these storms coming into Bexar County. And let me go ahead, first of all, and Joe, while you're there on radar, if you can, go ahead and navigate for me. I just drove in, okay? I'll tell you the roads, well, they have some hydroplaning issues. So if you're going to be out, or if you know someone that's out, understand that that is the main hazard right now with these storms, is the heavy rainfall. We do not have active warnings at this time, but this is producing some hydroplaning concerns for 1604, 281, 410. I just made the trip down 281 by the airport. Coming in on 410, I hit a couple hydroplaning spots. So that is the main issue right now here. So again, joining you now, Chief Meteorologist Chris Suchan here with my colleague, good buddy, meteorologist Joe DiCarlo, who's been guiding you through all the warnings that have been active. We now have a new warning just out of our area. This is in the Austin area. That's a severe thunderstorm warning in effect from San Marcos right into Lockhart. So this is now out of our viewing area. But if you look at the signature closely, you see this little bit of a bow signature right here. That tells me that there are strong wind gusts, probably pushing 50 to 60, 65 miles an hour in this portion of the line crossing 35, right east into Lockhart and north from Welder. So that is the Austin viewing area. But I want to tell you, that is the latest warning that we've had issued just outside of our area. Very close, but just outside of our area. The tornado warning earlier that was in Comal County has long since expired. That went into Hayes County. So you can see that's the strongest part of the line. Let's take this down to Joe, a little bit closer down 35. There's New Braunfels, right on into Selma, Garden Ridge, as you work towards the Randolph Air Force Base there, of course, in eastern Bexar County, right on the county line with Guadalupe County. This is moderate to heavy rain. Now, I did experience personally some gusts that were over 40 miles an hour, but these are not severe wind gusts right now coming into Bexar County. So perhaps a little noisy at times with some of the lightning and thunder, but these are not damaging wind gusts tucked into this line of storms. That's why you do not see a warning here, but it is still capable of gusts that are sub-severe in the 40, maybe 50 mile an hour range is what I would expect to see from this line right now as you see it here. Also, do note, and Joe, let's go ahead and push this a little bit more west. You see how the line is oriented east to west? You see how you have this axis right here? That's a little bit more favorable right now for some flooding potential over the next hour. So you have storms that are training along the Highway 90 corridor into Bexar County. So that's something you would want to watch from this little particular portion of the line east into Hondo to Castroville into Bexar County, that we could get a couple spots here perhaps that are seeing enough rain to produce a flood advisory, maybe a flash flood warning here. So that's some of the signatures that I'm looking at right now. I do not see hail. There is nothing in the way here of damaging hail on these storms. I do not see damaging wind here. Now, this particular portion of the line, the southwestern flank of it, near Batesville, La Pryor, and Zavala County, and southern Uvalde County, this is a stronger portion of the line. I do think it merits some attention as we go towards Frio County, southern Medina, towards Atascosa County, to see if this particular portion of the line could eventually produce a warning for strong wind gusts and maybe hail. So that is of interest to me right there. So otherwise, the threat for Bexar County, and for those of you that might be joining our coverage here in progress, this is just a good moderate to heavy rain. This is an absolute blessing. This is ending the streak of a month and a half of no quality rain in and around Bexar County. That is all coming to an end tonight. We've been telling you this for days, with this batch of rain coming in with this complex of storms. And the good news is, too, is that I see nothing in the way of damaging wind, nothing in the way of large damaging hail with this. So it's under control. And where we do have the potential to push 60 miles an hour a little bit higher is from San Marcos right into Lockhart and north of Welder. So north of Guadalupe County, north of Gonzales County, just out of our area. See this little signature right here? That's a push of some strong winds. And this is in the Austin viewing area. Now, Joe, if we could, let's go a little bit further west, because we have the storms here coming across the 35 corridor. I just want to point out, we also have additional strong to perhaps almost marginally severe storms coming into Del Rio in our far western tier. This is behind the main complex that's now moving into Bexar County. You see that collection of lightning we have there. That's a real intense storm and updraft over Del Rio. So probability of getting some wind and some hail in here. You also will notice that is a flood advisory that is in effect. So that is our lone flood advisory that we have in the area with the flood watch that's active. It is in Valverde County and a little bit of far western county here. Frequent lightning. This is an area here where you're going to probably see 2 to 3+ inches of rainfall when all is said and done after the initial batch and now this round coming in. And you put this into flow, and that'll be heading east across the hill country in the Highway 90 corridor here. So that will be the general trend here, is along 90 and north with this particular batch here. That's the second wave coming in behind the initial complex of storms. And up into Kerrville and Bandera County, Kerr, Bandera, Kendall County, the storms came through. There have been power outages up here into the hill country from these storms. Now you're into an area of light to moderate, just really nice rain. There's occasionally a little lightning and thunder up in here, but this is nothing severe here, despite the fact that it might be a little noisy at times. That's just some really nice, beneficial rainfall. Happy to see it. And then as we shift down towards Bexar County, you can see here, now we're looking at TransGuide, kind of giving a little bit of an idea what the roads look like around the region. This is 12:32 here on a Saturday night, Friday night, Saturday morning. So not many folks that are out on our roadways. There is a little bit of a hydroplaning issue right now in Bexar County, but that's the extent of it. We do not have damaging storms right now in Bexar County, just pockets of heavy rainfall. And we really don't even have a lot of lightning. There's occasional lightning and thunder, but this is not a real loud, noisy storm that's cutting across here. So this is really sort of delivering on a promise. We told you for days, all week long, we would see a good opportunity for rain Friday night and Saturday morning. Much needed, much anticipated, and here it is. So we're going to enjoy a little old-fashioned rainy night now here in and around Bexar County and San Antonio. And the good news is it is without warnings. Here you can see some of the drops on the camera lens here, TransGuide. That's 35 Eisenhower. Here you have Hebner Road. And again, you see, there's 1 or 2 drivers. There's not much in the way of motorists that are out in the region. I could verify that. I was just, like I said, it came in about 20, 25 minutes ago. You see a few drivers out there. But overall, we're really holding our own in terms of our road conditions around the area. We don't have a lot of folks that are out driving, and this is not severe cutting across Bexar County right now. We had a little bit of a flurry. Joe was telling you about a tornado warning that was active in Comal County, Canyon Lake, Fisher, Spring Branch. That was for the possibility of a quick developing tornado along the line moving across Comal County. That has long since expired, that warning. It's no longer active. And what's left of that tornado warning is actually this new severe thunderstorm warning. And you see this little kink right here. So in the Austin area, as you get near Lockhart, see right in here, this little kink, that's where you would want to watch to see if maybe the Weather Service decides they're going to issue another tornado warning. This is for a little possibility of a quick spin up onto the line, but this is out of our viewing region here. So for those of you that might have interest from Lockhart, Cedar Creek, eastbound here towards north of Welder, out of our area, that's where this particular potent portion of the line is. And that is a polygonal warning here that tells you that there's a possibility of damaging wind gusts within this portion of the line just out of our area. And that's now moving east from Texas State, San Marcos, as it's heading east of I-35. You go down a little further south, down 35 and into Braunfels, and while you've had some gusts, Cibolo getting into it, Seguin, you're getting now probably into some gusts. You see this little outer edge right here? This is sort of the gust front of the storms. The rain cooled air is pushing out, creating some wind gusts. And all along this little zone right in here, I could see 40, maybe occasional gusts of 50 miles an hour. But that's not severe or strong enough for a warning. You have to hit 60 plus. So that's why you do not see a big warning that is active right now along this line here as it's moving across Bexar County. But what you will notice is with the pattern, and Joe, let's go ahead and expand this out a little bit. You see a beautiful rain downtown, the Pearl, Castle Hills, Terrell Hills, Alamo Heights, Balcones Heights, working west into around SeaWorld, going into Castroville. This is really just welcome rainfall in here. Nothing that is severe or damaging as it's moving across Bexar County. The only thing right now that I'm watching is to see is we have this sort of this west to east sort of orientation of the storms that can produce localized flooding. So it's a little bit of a training signature here on the southern end of this massive complex that's cutting across the 35 corridor in Texas. And still a little bit on guard for the back edge of this complex right in here to Zavala, Uvalde County, southwest Medina. This is a stronger portion of the line. This is where there could be some hail and some gusts. And you see how that is moving east. Hondo to Divine, maybe more Bigfoot, Natalia. Lytle, you're in store for that particular portion of the line. There you see the warning is being reissued just out of our area here. So again, we do not have an active warning right now in and around Bexar County for these storms. And Joe, if we could, let's go ahead and broaden out the view. Let's go wide here on the view. I just want to show you some perspective. For those of you watching our coverage south of Bexar County, I know you're hoping for rain down there too, to the south. And we've always been fearful of the fact that you may see much less way down south. This is going to be sort of cutting across Frio to Atascosa County, the southern edge of this. And of course, that goes into Wilson to Karnes County here. That will be the southern edge of this batch. We might be able to get something a little bit further south. You see this batch here? That is also moving east. So eventually, that's another reinforcing shot of some showers and storms later in the night, probably about 3 hours from now, coming back into Bexar County. Say 3 to 5, 6 in the morning, more showers and thunderstorms will be moving back in. And by the way, I do want to point out here, and Joe, if we can, let's go into Del Rio and let's get a little bit closer in there because that's the strongest storm in our area right now that's in our viewing region. It is right over Del Rio to Laughlin Air Force Base here along 90. A lot of lightning out here. You've already had a big storm come in with some gusts and some hail. Here's another one that's rolling in, and this is a pretty robust thunderstorm. Now, notice it does not have a warning on it, but it's just below severe levels here. So we'll want to watch this one here for out there towards Bracketville and Kinney County, Campwood to Barksdale, southern Edwards County. That's where this storm is heading. It's heading here off to the east. And if we could, do you have a hail tracker set up here? Let's get over to Hail Tracker. I just want to give everyone a little check here on this. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to another product, kind of show you what we have right now in terms of hail. It's always a big question. We have storms like this. How about the hail situation? So out here in Del Rio, there you see it. And I wouldn't be surprised. And right there, you see that shade of sort of a violet in there. That's an inch plus. Look at that. That's possibility of golf ball size hail. And Joe, I do not see a warning on this storm, right? No. You do have that active here. And so I'll be waiting. I'd be very curious to see if the Weather Service wants to issue a warning on this here. That, to me, should probably have a warning on it out there from Del Rio to Laughlin Air Force Base. That's a big hail core moving over Del Rio with a quarter size or larger hail possible. This is our hail tracker. This is an estimate on the size. It tells me a golf ball size hail, 1.75 inches. And sometimes that can overdo it by a small margin. So even if that's the case, that's half dollar size, 1.5 inches or so. So we'll probably see a warning on that here, I'm sure, with time. That's the big situation right now in Del Rio is we have hail on that storm. And in fact, the latest scan on it, Joe, if we could erase this one here, let's put a new marker out on that because I'd be really curious to see. That looks to me like it's pushing 2-inch diameter hail. So I just saw that's your marker right there. Look at that, 2-inch hail. So we're probably on the verge of getting a severe thunderstorm warning out here from Del Rio to Laughlin Air Force Base out there to Valverde County. That's a real nasty storm that's out here. You do not see the polygon on it, but I'm sure that's going to be coming here shortly. This is live TV, so we'll see it pop on if the Weather Service puts one out there. But I see a big hail on that storm out there around Del Rio to the Air Force Base out there along Highway 90 with a flood advisory. And then this is the rest of the commotion that we have out here. Joe, if we could go to hail tracker just on this, just want to sort of give everyone a little bit of reassurance that we do not have big hail or even really a lot of small hail on these storms. This is more wind gusts, lightning, and heavy rain that we have right now cutting across Bexar County. See how hail tracker is really sort of void of big hail. So it's out to Del Rio, but we do not have it in Bexar County. So we do not have damaging hail. And this is the reflectivity here. This is the strongest part of the line closer into Bexar County. It's up here. That's where the warning is active just outside of our viewing region for strong wind potential. Right in here, that's a signature of straight-line winds. And we have a stronger storm here on the southern flank of the line, the southwestern flank. That's not severe, but it's pretty strong right there. That's moving east. And then that, to me, is on the cusp of a severe thunderstorm warning, as we just saw there with hail trackers. So, Joe, I think we maybe have your microphone active here and hot. So if you want to join in and hear the coverage. So we're going to continue with this?
Yeah, he said continue.
All right.
He wants me to go.
All right. So, okay. All right. So sounds good here. So what we're going to do here is let's go ahead and take a pause if we can. And then we'll join you back here in about 1 to 2 minutes here. We're going to reset things just a bit, and then we'll join you with some more information here on the storms that are coming across the area.
It looks like they still have us live.
Huh?
They still have us.
Hi, Chief Meteorologist Chris Uchan here with News 4. I want to bring you back up to speed on what we have moving through the area as we continue our coverage. And the good news is, right out of the gate, I'll tell you, we do not have active warnings in our area. I am watching this storm out in Del Rio. That's a pretty strong thunderstorm in southern Valverde County. Otherwise, what's moving across Bexar County, this is just good old-fashioned moderate to heavy rain. And then where we do have a warning is just outside of our area going from Hays County, just north of Gonzales County with this particular portion of the line. That's the strongest part of the line along the 35 corridor where there's a lot of wind push right now. So there you see the active warnings. There we go. The National Weather Service has in fact put a severe thunderstorm warning in effect here for Del Rio, DeKinney County. Let's zoom in there. And what we have here, and I was highlighting this about 5 to 10 minutes ago with meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. You see all that lightning out here. This is a potential for 1 inch or larger hail right now along Highway 90, Laughlin Air Force Base to the east side of Del Rio. That's the big storm with the hail core on it moving out there well west of Brackettville. But you see the warning on it, which will be going probably in effect here for the next half hour, how it covers into a central Kinney County. So that is now an officially warned for part of our storm way out west, Valverde County into Kinney County here for hail. And probably even some strong gusts pushing 50 to 60 miles an hour on that thunderstorm here. So now we're going to take this back over for those of you joining our coverage in around Bexar County. And again, occasionally a little noisy with some thunder that's out there. Right now, we are really holding our own. I am extremely pleased how these storms are moving in, and they are not showing me a signature of being destructive. The possibility here is for tonight, and thus far we've had gusts over 40, but we have not realized 60 plus. That's where you see this up here. That's where the possibility from just outside of Gonzales County and outside of Guadalupe County. That's where we have strong wind gusts possible on this storm here, on this particular part of the storm. So let's take this in a little bit closer. And as we look at this in for Bexar County, Seguin, Guadalupe County, we're going to kind of take you on a little bit of a tour here as we move this up, and just some really nice rainfall in around Seguin. There are some gusts on the leading edge of this here that are hitting 40 plus. And I saw this as I came into work here tonight to join our coverage here with meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. As I was coming down to 281, I did in fact hit a few gusts that were hitting 40 plus. Also, a little bit of hydroplaning. You notice we do not have active flash flood warnings. We have really sort of held our own. But there is still, naturally, with the urban landscape of Bexar County, there's going to be some pockets out there of a little bit of ponding on the roadways with this rainfall. And look how desolate it is out there tonight. There's Redland Road in 1604. Here you have Bulverde 1604. You know, I mean, it's a Friday night, Saturday morning at 12:50. Not many are out tonight on our roadways. There you see one car passing by. There's a few more out there towards Redland Road 1604. So again, really holding our own in regards to the flooding situation. Good news there. This is all just beneficial rain, and we're getting to the point where we just want to see it hang out for as long as possible, try to bring in as much rain as we can get, because we really don't have good rain chances down the road over the next 7 days. So we kind of have to make it happen here tonight into a part of your day tomorrow. So downtown San Antonio, here along 90, of course, out there to Kelly and Lackland, you see again some big-time rainfall, moderate to heavy rain. You see the occasional lightning flashes there over downtown. Going down towards Stinson Airport on the south end of San Antonio. Here you see the heavier rainfall now sinking south. So this will cover all of Bexar County in time, where everyone's going to get into some nice quality rainfall here. We take this out a little bit more towards the southwestern portion of the county, here along 90 and 35. Here you see from Atascosa and the Von Army, Somerset about ready to get into the heavier rain. Lytle's in it, Castroville right into a Hondo. This is moderate to heavy rainfall that you see. And then, of course, as we shift this back over, looking towards Seguin and the heavy rain, and then working its way eventually towards Stockdale to Sutherland Springs and Lavernia. So there you can see again there. Now we're getting down towards Wilson County here, trying to get this rain into your area. A lot of big ranches that are out here too. And I know many of you are hoping for the rain, fill up those rain barrels. Opportunity knocks tonight, and it's coming in. It's close. And you see how it's trending here to the east-southeast towards Wilson County. So what I'll do is I'll kind of pull the view out just to get a little bit more perspective on it. And again, you can see sinking across Bexar County. For those of you further north, New Braunfels, you've had the heavy rain come through with some gusts. Now everything is really sort of settling down as that's heading towards Luling and Lockhart. That's the stronger part of the storm. We had the tornado warning earlier in Comal County, and that part of the line is now shifting out of our area north. So just south of Cedar Creek, you see this sort of little indentation here on the line. That's something you would want to watch for a little quick spin up right there. We do not have a tornado warning active, but that's what triggered the tornado warning in our area, was a signature like that, where you can get along the line just a little quick spin up. This is just light to moderate rain that we have behind the line across a good chunk of our area from Kendall County, Kirk County, Bandera County. And again, just want to sort of reinforce the idea here too, is that, you know, instead of the line moving away and everything you feel like just sort of comes to an end and tapers off, but do note we have another complex coming in here. This is going to be moving east, and in many cases, this will reinforce rainfall amounts coming back into Bexar County. Now, this batch here may take another 2-3 hours to get here, but it will be moving back in. So as this all sort of gradually, slowly moves away and fades away, we'll have this second batch that'll be coming in, and that will add to the rainfall totals that we have seen so far. And this one here actually has, again, that's a severe thunderstorm. That is our lone warning in the area. It's way out west, Brackettville to Del Rio here along Highway 90 here. So that's what we have here in terms of the rain and the warnings that are active. The one warning that right now we have in place. This is hail tracker, and you don't see a tremendous amount of markers showing. We see a little bit up here if you look closely around Luling to Lockhart. This is really small hail here. So we do not have much hail that's out there, certainly nothing that's severe. And then as you get out west into this one lone 1-4 storm, that's the hail core that we do have in our area. It's right there along Highway 90, and that's getting right into the Air Force Base here. Let me see if I can bring this in a little bit closer here. So what I'm going to do, let me switch over, and let me see if I can zoom this in, bring you in here. And that looks to me like it's probably about penny to nickel size with that particular shade there of blue. So what I'll do is I'll put a little estimate here on it for you, just to kind of give you an idea, and you'll see this pop on. And there you go. This is just below 1-inch diameter hail. So this is around or just below quarter size. But earlier, it was pulsing up to golf ball size or larger for a time there from Del Rio to the Air Force Base out there, Laughlin Air Force Base, there along 90. And that's the reason why we have that warning. In terms of strong winds or tornado risk, well, I could see right there, that's a pocket of some strong wind right there out of our viewing area. This, again, is the Austin area just outside of Gonzales County. But that's a signature of some strong winds right there. And that's where you want to watch for a little quick spin-up tornado, but that's out of our area. Otherwise, the rest of this is really under control. I see nothing here that's threatening or damaging. And then as we switch over here to rainfall rates, this is over a 1-hour period. So this is per hour rainfall rates. And what I'll do is I'll let this stop here again one more time. Let's just kind of give you an idea. I'll put a drop right in there. And you can see, look at that, over 5 inches per hour. That is the rainfall rate right in that little spot right there. So, I mean, it's coming down in buckets when you get into this here. Fortunately, though, unlike what we've seen in months previous here to where we are now, this is not sitting over one spot for an extended period of time. So, yes, it's tremendous rainfall as it moves through. I'll drop another one in here just to kind of give you an idea. And you'll see there you have over 4 inches per hour. So this is really heavy rainfall, but it's moving along instead of sitting over one spot. And that will really mitigate the potential for flash flood warnings being issued. But it's adding up into those rain gauges. Make no mistake about it. That is a beautiful rain down here. I know it's coming down, absolutely torrential rainfall right now. St. Hedwig to Atkins, coming down towards Calaveras and Bronig Lakes. And then the Somerset, south in San Antonio, Stinson Airport in southern Medina County. You see all these little pockets that we have out here of really heavy rainfall. For example, let's just drop a little marker right there. That's in Medina County. And there you go. That's over 4 inches. Out here towards the St. Hedwig, that little batch right there, you'll see it pop on here in just a second. Let's try that one more time. and just see if we can get to show you here the rainfall estimate. There it is. So 2 to almost about 3 inches per hour. So again, that's the headline here, is this just pockets of really heavy rain. Moving forward tonight, this is about 5 to 5:30 in the morning on your Saturday. You see how the bulk of this activity is moving into the Houston area. We still have leftover scattered showers. There could be a random clap of thunder still tucked in here too. And then as we roll on this a little bit deeper into the day, you will notice here, let me see if I can back this up here one more time. And let's play this here through. And what I want to show you is you'll see right up in here between San Antonio to Austin, see those thunderstorms? That's later in the afternoon, evening. That's where we could see a couple, 2, 3 strong to severe storms just on the cusp of our viewing area, especially in the Austin area. So that's what we're looking for later in the day here today here. So again, we'll back this up with our coverage here as we kind of roll this through in what we have now coming through Bexar County and the I-35 corridor. This is just really nice rainfall here. This is an old-fashioned rainy night. We're happy to see it. You're happy to see it. I'm happy to see it. We've been talking about this for days. This is our next weather maker rolling in, and I just couldn't be any more thrilled on it here. So the only point moving forward that I would like to see maybe, let's try to work on is get this rain a little bit more south. It will be heading east. For those of you watching out here, you're going to be getting into some of this rain eventually tonight, tomorrow. But just trying to hit as many areas as we can with this little system that's moving through with this opportunity for measurable rainfall here. But at this point, outside that one storm that's way out west, this is all very much under control. This is not severe weather coming through. This is just really nice rain. And let's take you in really close here. I'm going to zoom this in, and we're going to get into some towns and some streets. And there you have Kingsbury. Here's Seguin right here. I'll go even a little bit closer than that. So there you can see it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pan function on here. So there's along I-10, moderate to heavy rainfall as you're working down to, let's say, 90, out along 80, working north towards I-10. There you have, again, this is just all just good, soaking, moderate to heavy rainfall. For those of you in around Seguin, I've been telling you for days here, you're standing a pretty good chance of seeing some good rainfall. There it is here tonight. You see all the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes that we have around Guadalupe County here. So again, it's not frequent lightning. It's not a real noisy storm like we can see. This is just a beautiful way to kind of sleep here tonight with the heavier rain and the lightning and thunder. Just happy to see it. New Berlin, boy, that's some pretty heavy rain that's over you right now. You can see how this is kind of shading a little bit further south from Seguin as you work down 123. We'll come out here towards Lavernia, just now getting into sort of the heavier rain. The leading edge of it could have gusts hitting 40+ miles per hour. And as we go across Bexar County, here you see there's Calaveras Lake right there. You see it there? There's Calaveras Lake. There's Bronig. Really heavy lake now, rain right now over the lake, Calaveras there, the power plant. As you go from Elmendorf over towards Sandy Oaks, and then Stinson Airport's in it. Palo Alto Heights, moderate to heavy rain here to Von Army, working down 281, heading south down to 16 to 1604. Just a good soaking rainfall. And this was all earlier. This is up in northern Bexar County and northwestern Bexar County. So now we're pushing this into the southern end, so you're not left out. There you have Atascosa, and here's Lytle working down towards Natalia. Then you got Lacoste. Here's Castroville in Medina County. There's Divine. And again, nothing that's severe here. This is just some welcome rainfall that we have here at the moment. Well, let's go ahead and pull the view out here just a bit more. And this southern end of the flank of the complex of storms, which has had a stronger storm attached to it right here, that's still a stronger storm, but it's not showing me any signs of being severe. So again, everything is really under control. And frankly, based on the signature I'm looking at this point here, this is not a severe weather setup here at this point. What we're looking at is maybe we get a little bit of training and some localized flooding. That would be the concern moving forward, because unless this guy right here can do something, all this is really well behaved. And so I'm not really particularly impressed here for the possibility of going severe with any of that. Now, this is a different story. This complex is way out west. That's a powerful storm west of Brackettville. That's where we have the warning that's active. This is a possibility quarter-size hail or larger. Some strong wind gusts here on it. And you see it's trying to develop its own second complex here. It's a smaller complex, but this is going to be filing in right in behind this one here in the wake of this complex of storms. So all this commotion you see here should be moving east. So Lakey to Utopia to Concan. I think you're in play here for another round of some storms. Maybe Uvalde to Canepa to Sabinal as well here along 83 and north from Uvalde here with that particular batch right there. But that's the lone severe storm that's in our area, is way out to the west. And that's now moving east of Del Rio. There's another thunderstorm that's developing way up the Rio Grande here from the lake. And that is a strong storm right there, probably some small hail. But this is the larger hail, strong wind gusts that we have here at the moment. So that's kind of the lay of the land on where things stand right now as we sort of join you with the coverage right now. I'll tell you, it's much more peaceful than it was. There was a flurry of activity here about 30, 45 minutes ago. We had a tornado warning that was issued in Comal County. We had a severe thunderstorm warning that was issued in Bexar County for a good chunk of Bexar County, out of the hill country where we had wind gusts and power outages in Kerrville and some strong gusts in Bandera. And all the activity has really more or less in our area just sort of fizzled to where we just have this beautiful area of rain with occasional lightning and thunder. That's the severe part of the line, is just outside of our area. The Austin area, see this little portion of the line, that's pretty strong. That'll continue east, north of Lavaca County, so that's not in our viewing region. So all this is just really just welcome rainfall at this point here. And now we're just trying to keep the rain around as long as we can to try to squeeze it out for some beneficial rainfall for our area. And then the other batch that's back here to the west, this will deserve attention for the next 3 hours to see how it trends as it's moving east. But I would not expect it to be anything on par with this complex, which was coming through, which had a history of the strong gusts. So this little batch here may have a tendency to sort of pulse up and down, occasionally some large hail or some strong gusts, and then it kind of weakens. And that's my feel here on this batch here right now. But that's got some time and some distance to cover before it gets into around Bexar County. Again, no hail in around Bexar County. We'll switch this over. Let me bring this westbound. We go on 90. And even this storm here, if you look at the latest couple of scans on it, in terms of hail tracker, it is showing a decrease overall in the size of the hail. So this was golf ball size or larger, 2 inches perhaps in some cases in diameter. And now we're looking at probably that's dime to about maybe penny nickel size. That's a lot of dime to penny, maybe nickel size there with that shade of blue, just on the west side here of Brackettville. So this is actually a storm that's come down a little bit for us compared to where it was earlier when we were doing our continuous coverage and talking about the possibility we might see a warning issued on it when it was showing a signature of some big hail. By the way, let me go ahead and take this out. This is radar velocity data. So they're looking at the speed of the wind and the direction of the wind. And this shows me here, anything that's pink or red, that's air moving away from the radar. That's the outbound winds. And then green is toward the radar. That's inbound here. And so right in here, what you would want to look for is a signature of a pocket. Let's see if I can bring this in a little bit closer here. What we call a divergent wind pattern for microbursts or downburst winds, where you see a bright shade of red here up against a bright shade of green, where the air descends out of the storm and it's pushing this way and it pushes this way. And I don't really see that right here. So there are some gusts in there, and maybe hitting 40 or so miles per hour. But at the moment, to me, it looks like it's a little bit more under control than what it was. But if all of a sudden I see a signature of, say, this shade of bright pink with bright green, that tells me we probably have a downburst wind signature being picked up by radar. I don't see that right now. So certainly nothing that's tornadic out here. And the hail size has been decreasing. And then in terms of the rainfall rates, earlier I was showing you this here, and this will take just a second to load up the data, but it was pushing about 4 to 5 inches per hour on the rainfall rates. And the only good news I could say with that is that everything's moving along. It doesn't look like the data wants to load up here. Oh, there you go. There you can see it trying to load up here now. But instead of the storm just sort of sitting over Bexar County, which we saw, say, for example, in June, and where we got some massive amounts of rainfall in a short amount of time. Notice how everything's just sort of progressing along, and that really mitigates the flood risk here, even though it's coming down in some bursts. So I'll go ahead and just sort of put my query mode into action here for you, just kind of give you an idea. We'll do that little spot there to Guadalupe County. And there you see again, I mean, that little spot there, that's 5+ inches of rainfall being estimated by radar. A couple other spots here. This is in Bexar County, southern Bexar County here. There you can see it's 4 to 5 inches per hour. So again, really heavy rain in some of these pockets, but everything's moving along instead of being stationary, and which creates the flash flooding risk. And that's why you do not see active warnings here for flooding in our area. And again, just to kind of walk you through it here, I'm actually going to step off to the screen, and I want to just sort of guide you through this future radar product here. So this is at 5:30. I'm going to move it slowly forward so you can see everything. 9 to 10 o'clock, you know, if you have a morning yard sale, garage sales, morning round of some golf, or, you know, little league with the kids, I think overall the rain chance really does lower through the morning after sunrise. And then we're going to take this to about 12:30 to 1 o'clock. You see how the Austin area is really active with showers and storms. And then in our area from 2:30 to 3 o'clock, okay, all right, so there are a few. In Bexar County, you don't want to completely dismiss the possibility of seeing a shower storm later in the afternoon. But you notice how the coverage is much higher in the Austin area in comparison. So this is a little bit more hit or miss scattered in around San Antonio and Bexar County, Comal County. Now, that right there, that's at 4 o'clock. And this is a signature right here where there's probably some hail. So this is a model simulation, and you take it for what it's worth here, because we have a number of models that we use. This is a pretty good one, though, for showers and convective situations. And these are all hail cores that you see right here. Out of our area, see that those are probably 2-3 severe storms right there. That's a little bit of a Boeing complex right there out of our area. And then you see behind it, there's these showers and thunderstorms. Most of this is under control. That probably right there, 4:30 in Comal County is a marginal severe storm. So we would want to watch that on your Saturday. And you see how we get a little bit more activity even around Bexar County. So for those that are saying, well, after tonight, that's it, we're rain free for the day on Saturday, you know, you want to pump the brakes on that. There's still going to be a little bit of a rain chance Saturday. Sunday is the day where this all moves out. This is as the big upper low, the big upper level trough that we're watching move across Texas begins to move to the east. So again, that's at 4 o'clock. I'll step over here. Let's just push this forward a little bit more here for you, kind of for your evening planning purposes. And you can see that moves into Seguin towards Gonzales, our eastern zone. That's as far as that model will go, by the way, there. And so you see how it kind of holds stationary. And then here's at 8 to 8:30. See how it's in our far eastern zone, the Houston area. And San Antonio in the evening is kind of winding things down there. So that does tell you that once we get to sunset and beyond, that's it on rain chances. And that's probably it on rain chances for the next 7 days. So the beauty of this forecast tonight, and maybe a little bit of the rain chance that we have tomorrow, is that we have to milk this. And we have to do our best to get as much rain as possible, because we're going to go into another dry stretch for 7 days. And the temperature next week is going to drop off. We're going to get us some autumn cool weather. But in terms of measurable rain, opportunities to fill up some rain barrels and help out some ranches in our area, the aquifer, you know, this is kind of where it has to happen tonight, and maybe a little bit tomorrow, is this big complex coming through the area of rain behind it. There's another complex developing here. That too is going to be moving to the east. So you see how everything's moving west to east across the area. And then down south, there just isn't much happening. And this is not a surprise to me. We've been talking about this week, that our far southern tier might be grasping at raindrops, looking at lightning up to the north, while the Bexar County and the rest of the area is seeing some rainfall here. So, and that's panning out. But again, this is not severe. This is just pockets of light to moderate to heavy rain. That's a pretty strong storm out there to Kinney County. But otherwise, everything is under control. And at this point here, it's 10 minutes, 11 minutes here after 1 o'clock here. We're going to pull back our coverage here on News 4, continue with social media updates. Of course, news4sa.com at any time. And don't forget, our 4Zone weather app, it has really come in handy today. And I don't know if you have it on your smartphone or your tablet, but it's a free download. It's on my phone, it's on my wife's phone, it's on our two sons' phone. You'll get the alerts, the watches, the warnings sent to you. If there's hail in a storm, you get it right there in the palm of your hand. And while you're sleeping at night, if you go into the settings, you could do also an alert tone to wake you up that there's some severe weather that's rolling into your area. For example, tonight with the tornado warning in Comal County, you would have had that alarm going off with our 4-zone weather app on that tornado warning here. So I invite you to download that, just another little tool in the toolbox to help you out here when you're away from News 4 in the middle of the night. But again, it's 112 here. Nothing severe that you see here in our area in around Bexar County. This is just good old-fashioned nice rain, occasionally a little thunder. Austin area has some pretty strong severe storms right now out of our viewing area, and we have this one that's way out to the west. We'll continue to watch it here from the 4-Zone Weather Center. But that'll do it for now. Back to News 4 and programming that's already in progress. Well, 122 here on this Friday night, Saturday morning. Want to continue our coverage here on the rain, get you up to date with the latest information that we're hearing and where things stand on radar. And right out of the gate, we'll tell you that the one lone warning that we have in our region until 1:30, so we have another 8 minutes on this warning, is out in Kinney County. This is a storm right now that still has some hail and some gusts with it, although it has weakened a bit since it was around Del Rio to Laughlin Air Force Base. The rest of what you see here is just really welcome rainfall. There's nothing that's severe in our area, no signs of any of this being severe. Where you do have a stronger part of the line that has a warning that's active is out of our area in the Austin area. And that's where you see severe thunderstorm warning that is active here. So the only real hazard at this point, besides that one storm out there, which we'll see if it gets another warning issued to it from where it is right now, it'll either expire and it'll reissue another one, or it'll be allowed to expire. But the rest of this, the only hazard is just pockets of heavy rain that might produce a little bit of ponding on roadways here. And so to kind of give an idea, and it's really beneficial rain. Really love seeing this rainfall over a good chunk of our viewing region here. So coming into Gonzales right now, there you see this is moderate to at times heavy rainfall. The leading edge of this could have some gusts that are hitting perhaps 30 to 40, 45 miles per hour on it as it's moving into Gonzales County, coming into Nixon and Stockdale now getting into it in Wilson County. Earlier in the day, you had a couple of little showers, weak thunderstorms move through Nixon in eastern Wilson County, and then they fizzled out in Guadalupe County. But now you're getting into some really nice rain, and this has a little bit more staying power than what you saw earlier in the day on Friday. So Nixon to Stockdale, Sutherland Springs, Lavernia. This is an area of moderate to heavy rainfall. Seguin has been in this rain. It's still raining in Seguin. It's a little bit more of a lighter form of rain compared to what you had a little bit earlier. But this is just really good to see as it's spreading here to the south. And, you know, we'll take this down. There's Gillette. There you have Floresville. Floresville, you're looking really good for this rain. And frankly, this is actually taking a little bit more of a push now south than what perhaps could have been based on the past 2-3 days on trends. So Pleasanton to Floresville to maybe Falls City and Karnes County, you know, you start thinking about maybe we can get this rain into your area here. So good opportunity here to fill up some rain gauges out there to Poteet, the strawberry fields, getting some rain. This is moderate to heavy rain coming down out there towards Devine to Lytle, Natalia. More seeing the rainfall just south of Hondo. Here's a pocket here of some frequent lightning strikes. So this is a little stronger part of the line in Medina County. Not severe, but this is a noisy part of the line with a lot of thunder, the lightning flashes. No hail or damaging wind gusts with that particular portion. Just really love seeing this rain. And we're just now getting it into Pearsall towards Charlotte to Pleasanton. You see how it's right on your doorstep. Now we go across Bexar County. Heaviest is in central to southern Bexar County. This is moderate to heavy rain. And then it's much lighter as you work up in the northern end of the county into Comal County. This is just really light to moderate steady rainfall that we have up here, up around Canyon Lake. There has been a little damage reported up here to Comal County from the earlier tornado warning that was issued. So whether that was straight line winds or we actually had a little spin up, that'll be determined for the day on Saturday with some investigations. Joe, let me bring you into the fold here.
Yeah, so just looking at the CPS energy outage map here in Bexar County, 22 active outages, a little over 1,200 customers affected in Bexar County. So, you know, normal thunderstorms to do something like that, but 1,200 people are without power at this hour. BexarFlood.org, there are 6 low water crossings currently closed in Bexar County. Some of those usual spots that usually flood. There's the map right there.
There it is.
But no big issues that we're seeing right now,
That's
especially in the San Antonio.
That's
Bexar
pretty
County
subdued
area
compared to what we can see in around Bexar County. So you love seeing that. Typically, we'll get a lot of red dots. That indicates big problems out there for roadways. But because the progressive nature of these storms coming through, it has really mitigated the road closures. Those low water crossings here, we're really doing quite well. I did get a report, and Joe, we did hear this on the north side that there was a water rescue.
Yes, Sahara Road.
Sahara,
That's what I heard.
So north side there of Sahara Road, we had a report of a water rescue. But that's all we've heard tonight in terms of flooding. You see TransGuide going here. There's Borgfeld, 281. So now we're up on the north end of the county. You notice, very few motorists that are out here. It's at 1:27 at night, early on a Saturday morning, Friday night, and just don't have anyone that's out. So we're really looking pretty good across the area. This is beneficial rain. There's nothing that's severe here or causing us any problems. This is look at our outage map here that we have here in the lower left for you. And
22 active outages, a little over 1,200 customers affected out of almost 1 million. So like you said, Chris, doing pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, we see this on normal
that's
thunderstorms.
garden variety outages. We like to have 0 outages, but well, you got lightning. We had some gusts come in with the storms, but they've been weakening. And there were a lot of outages up into the hill country. So I did want to point that out. I had reports in Kerrville and Kerr County, a lot of outages.
And we did get a viewer sent in a canopy kind of gets damaged a little bit in those winds just north of Bernie. Yeah.
Just north of Bernie.
Yes.
So yeah, we had the strong gusts into the hill country, Comal County and the eastern part of the hill country. Bexar County, we had gusts that were hitting over 40. And we had the warning that was issued as the storms were rolling in. They were producing the possibility of 50-plus mile-an-hour winds. This will take you back in time. And as this line was coming across the hill country and entering Bexar County, the warning was issued for it. It came in probably with some gusts over 50, especially on the north end, going to Kendall, Comal County. Briefly, we had a tornado warning issued for Comal County up around Canyon Lake, Spring Branch to Fisher. And that went right into Hayes County. And we've had reports of a little bit of damage up here around Canyon Lake from that particular part of the line of storms here. So we do have that we could pass along to you. That particular part of the line is moving north of our area. Right up here, this is the stronger part of the line, and this is in the Austin television market here, which covers these counties that you see here. Our northernmost counties, way out here to the east, we'd have Gonzales and Lavaca County. The rest of this is very much well-behaved, beneficial rain. And perhaps for pets and kids, waking a few up that are maybe get a little anxious when you see the lightning flashes and you hear the thunder, but this is just love this, just love the rain. And then we have this little secondary complex, much smaller, that's way out here to the west. That's going to be coming into Bexar County, but it's got probably about another 2 hours to go before he gets here. And that just will reinforce some of the rainfall rates.
That severe thunderstorm warning in Kinney County about to expire within the next minute.
Yeah, so we've got 20 more seconds to go on the Kinney County warning. That's the only warning that's in our area right there. The rest of this here is really looking pretty good here. Let's bring this in a little bit closer again as we zoom this in. Pleasanton now getting into the rain. Devine, Pearsall, Hondo, you're still in it. And again, just to kind of reinforce the idea, you see how Hondo will probably be getting out of the rain, but then you have this batch here that's going to be filling in along the Highway 90 corridor coming in. So there'll be more rain in the next 2-3 hours coming in. Occasionally, the lightning and thunder with that batch. And then as we take this over from Bexar County into Wilson County, Guadalupe, Gonzales County, at this point here, where we are in the game is I'm not worried about severe weather with this. I'm just hoping it holds together long enough to get many of you some rainfall at this point here. This is moderate rain. There are a few pockets of some heavier rainfall that you see in there. See the lightning flashes here, southern Bexar County. That's a little bit of a stronger push there on the line. It's not severe, but that's heavier rain coming into Gonzales. Really just good news here at this point. We're trying to get this across much of our area as we possibly can here at this point. Just kind of show you in terms of the hail tracker. There's no hail out there. We do not have damaging winds with any of this activity. This shows me in terms of the wind speed, direction, whether we have rotation or not. There's nothing that's tornadic here now. You have that one warning up around LaGrange. That's out of our area. And just to show you those rainfall rates here real quick, let me just show you in terms of what we have down here to the south, as you're heading southeast from Elmendorf, heading towards Floresville. So you can see the rainfall rates per hour. But again, these storms are moving along instead of sitting over the same spot, which helps out in regards to limiting the potential for flash flooding. So we've really done well. We've had the flash flood watch in effect. At this point, I don't think it's going to verify a warning for us here, and that's good news. But we had it in place just in case in the morning from 6 to 7 o'clock. A little bit of rain still possible. You see how it's really leaning towards the Houston area. May get a little bit of activity later in the afternoon into the early evening, the I-35 corridor, especially in the Austin area. In fact, let me go ahead and back this up. I'm going to play it for you again one more time. Watch here closely. You'll see in the afternoon, right in here. All right, so that's where we could later in the day see a few showers and thunderstorms here. Do want to present to you a QR code here. I invite you to get out your smartphone or perhaps your tablet and scan that code right there. This is a free download on an app that has been really busy today, which watches and warnings to keep you ahead of the weather here. It's a free download, and it will also show you if there's wind gusts, if there's hail in those storms, if there's a tornado, if there's rotation. It picks up on those signatures here. And it also has our custom forecast here for our area. So you could have national weather apps. They don't really do as good of a job as locally here in San Antonio. So our 4-zone weather app, we're certified most accurate 7 years in a row. It's going to be 8 years shortly here. That's the app to have on your phone to keep you ahead of the weather. And you can see that again, it's the QR code. I have it. My wife has it on her phone. Our 2 sons have it on their phones as well here. Free download. It will really help you out here if you're away from a News 4. If you're traveling around the country, you can take it with you there. It'll help you out. It's a beautiful app that we've put together here for you. So again, this is all just beneficial rain at this point. Nothing that's severe. Enjoy it. Sleep well. We'll watch it all from the 4-zone Weather Center. We'll take you to Programming in Progress.